Hey everybody, my name's Austin. I'm getting this idea from my favorite coaster YouTuber, Airtime Thrills. More on him later. I wanted to kick off my channel with a video explaining my own coaster adventure, even though it's kind of a sad one. I currently only have 34 credits, but I'm hoping that number will increase very soon. Anyway, welcome to the very first video on the coaster adventure. Okay, there's two things you need to know here. Number one, I live in a suburb of Salt Lake City. My home park is Lagoon, which I can't complain about, but besides that, there's not much around. The Adventure Dome in Vegas is a 6-hour drive, and beyond that, it's 8 hours to Aylex Garden, 10 to Magic Mountain or Silverwood, and even more to California's Great America or Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. Number two, I am not even 16 yet. I probably shouldn't be giving my age to the internet, but nobody's gonna watch this video anyway, so... Anyway, I can't legally drive, and I have very little control over my life in general at the present, so just don't judge the fact that I haven't had the chance to visit many parks. So, with that out of the way, let's begin my story. My first roller coaster, as far as I'm aware, was Journey to Atlantis at SeaWorld San Diego. When I rode it is not entirely clear. I first visited the park in 2011 when I was 3 years old, but I have no recollection of that trip. The ride's height requirement is 42 inches, and the average height of a 3-year-old is only 37 inches, but then again, I have always been a little taller than average. My dad thinks I did ride, but I'm not sure. Either way, when I visited the park again in 2016, it was our first ride, so it was definitely my first coaster. I immediately fell in love. At that age, most of the fun came from the splashdown, but that's most of the ride anyway. I was hooked. I also rode Manta on my 2016 trip, and then I rode it again. I believe we rode Manta at least 4 times. At that time, there were only 2 coasters in the park. For Christmas in 2017, our family was surprised with a trip to Southern California with our cousins. We would be returning to SeaWorld, then visiting Legoland and Disneyland. I was so excited. I, of course, got to re-ride Manta and my personal favorite ride, Journey to Atlantis. Legoland was a bit of a letdown. Their best coaster was a mock Wild Mouse called the Technic Coaster. They also had a Gerstlauer Jr. coaster called Coastersaurus. They also apparently have a Vekoma Jr. coaster called the Dragon, but we didn't ride it. Then, the moment we had all been waiting for, the 3 days at Disneyland. My first Disney ride ever was Space Mountain. Not bad if I do say so myself. We also rode all the other coasters between Disneyland and California Adventure, except for California Screamin' because it was undergoing a renovation to become the Incredicoaster. The summer of 2018 saw my first visit to Lagoon, which was amazing. In January of 2020, before COVID, I was able to visit Disneyland again and ride the Incredicoaster, which is actually my number 5 coaster. Don't judge. I love the ride's length and the pure fun you feel when riding. I also think the launch and the loop are pretty forceful. I also got to ride Rise of the Resistance 5 days after it opened, which was pretty cool. The ride absolutely blew me away, and it was definitely worth the hassle of getting the boarding pass and still waiting a whole hour to ride. On that trip, we also visited Universal Studios in Hollywood, which was a bit of a letdown after Disney, but I got 2 coaster credits there, so... At this point, I still had no idea that there was a club of nerds that called themselves coaster enthusiasts, but that was about to change. After the pandemic shut down the world, my dad introduced me to a show on Disney Plus called The Imagineering Story. It got me super interested in the making and history of the Disney parks and rides. During the pandemic, I started watching a lot of YouTube. My YouTube feed also began to fill with Disney parks related content, which I inhaled faster than oxygen. Eventually, YouTube introduced me to the world of roller coasters outside Disney. I especially liked Airtime Thrills channel. I learned about roller coasters and parks I had never even heard of. It was awesome. After more trips to Lagoon and Disneyland, I realized that my strange obsession with roller coasters was more than just a phase. I was becoming a full-blown coaster nerd. Last year, I bought Planet Coaster. I know real enthusiasts use No Limits, but Planco has pretty good coaster builder, and I like being able to build and run an entire park. For my 15th birthday in January, I finally got what I had been begging for. My parents were taking me to Six Flags Magic Mountain. It was all I dreamed of and more. My first B&M was Tatsu. I rode my first GCI in Apocalypse, which I actually really liked. X2 immediately shot to my number 1, even beating out Cannibal in Insanity. Wonder Woman had great ejector airtime. Unfortunately, Twisted Colossus was closed when we went, which was a huge bummer, but I still loved the trip. My only regret was that Scream was my last ride of the trip, which was very unfortunate. I didn't really mean for that to happen. We finished out the day with Wonder Woman, and we were walking back past Goliath when I noticed that Twisted Colossus was testing. It had been closed all weekend, and we went over to see if we could ride. The op told us it would be open within an hour. We went to the gift shop, and it still wasn't open, so I went and rode Scream again because it's right there. After that, they told us Twisted Colossus wasn't going to open that night. I was kind of mad. I mean, Six Flags should tell their guests the truth. They can't say the ride is going to open in 1 hour and not open the ride in 1 hour. Ugh. Twisted Colossus was my number 1 bucket list coaster for that trip. But oh well, we can't have everything, I guess. So anyway, that kind of sums up my coaster story. I'll definitely be at Lagoon this summer to ride Primordial. I'm super interested in what Lagoon has cooked up this time. I'm also pushing my parents to take me to California's Great America soon before it closes, and I'm hoping to go back to SeaWorld again this year to ride Electric Eel, Tidal Twister, and Emperor. I'm debating whether Tidal Twister would even count as a credit, but I do need more credits. I don't think I'll really know until I ride it. One more thing. I don't like it when YouTubers say to like and subscribe. I understand why they do it, but I don't think that's the best way to do it. Also, this channel is just for me to have some fun and not to try to make money or anything, so I'll only say it once. Please subscribe if you want to see some more coaster adventures. There. Done. You never have to hear it again. Guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Now go have your own coaster adventures.